Conventions that we use in the Maltby Herald are similar to ones we use in real media products. Before starting to rate our product, we researched other local newspapers, such as the Rotherham Record, Sheffield Star and the Rotherham Advertiser. This was to make sure that we knew what conventions were used. This helped us to create a professional product. We use conventions of real media products like masthead in the same place in every issue, cover stories and main headlines, images that are relevant to stories in the issue. As it is a free paper, real media products get their money from advertising. This meant to follow these conventions, we created lots of adverts that were aimed at our target audience of 45 plus. Another convention we used was having captions on the images that we used to make sure the audience knows what story is connected to the image, and also giving a little bit of extra information about the image. Using columns was another convention that we followed. We looked closely at how many columns were used in actual local newspapers and found that they mainly ranged between 3 or 4. This meant, as we wanted our newspaper to look like a real media product, we had columns of 3 or 4. Having a byline followed conventions of real media products, as every newspaper has them at the start of the articles. It tells the audience who wrote the article. This created a preferred reading, which was Stuart Hall's theory in 1980.
We tried to challenge real media products as we wanted our newspaper to be as informative as possible, as Herbert Gann's 1979 described clarity as chief criteria for news presentation. As the newspapers we looked at were mostly adverts with very few stories, for example the Eckington Reader and Maltby News. These are local newspapers for a much smaller audience, which has the same audience as what our newspaper would have. In our newspaper, each issue we try to have at least 3 stories on each page, with a lead story on the front page. This follows conventions of national newspapers, but we thought it would suit the needs of our audience. Yet as we were our free paper, we would gain our profits from advertising. We decided to still have quite a few adverts on the front page.
When creating a billboard advert, we decided to follow similar conventions of real media products and made a billboard advert advertising our new mobile app the Maltby Herald is producing. It is a free app to go with the free local paper, so people can have news available almost anywhere. Before creating the advert, we researched what conventions were used on billboard adverts that were advertising newspapers. We found one from the Rotherham Record advertising the newspaper. Then we found one from the Sheffield Star that was advertising their football news app. This was when we decided to combine the two and create a news app. By pastiching both of the styles, we were able to create something new by researching 2 older products. This ties into Bentley's theory in 1997 that creativity is the making of the new and the rearranging of the old. On the billboard advert, we used the same colours we did for the 3 issues of the newspaper. This was so it followed a brand and kept in the house style. The colours that we used were light blue, as it ties into the community through the academy. Our cell line of our newspaper is bringing our community together. We incorporated this into our advertising by saying, bringing your community to your mobile. The adverts we looked at also did this, therefore we were trying to bricolage real media products. To create synergy within our brand, we included the web address and featured stories that were seen in the newspaper issues on the billboard advert.
After researching newspaper radio adverts such as The Sun and The Times, we found that they mainly advertised an offer or a new feature of their newspaper, other than just advertising in their newspaper. With this in mind, and to create synergy with our other products, we decided to create a radio advert that was promoting our new mobile app. We also found that most of the adverts used humour to engage with their audience. To follow this convention, we decided to make our script quite funny, yet as our newspaper targeted an older audience, we decided to use a play on words such as boob tube, face page, angry puffins and Kinder Egg. A popular misconception is that older people do not mix well with technology, so we decided to play on this. We also used a brass band piece as background music, as this is associated with Yorkshire.
As we have never used Audition before, we found it quite difficult to use at first. Also, in our draft, we used our own voices, but this didn't sound like a professional radio advert. Therefore, we decided it would be a good idea to change the voices and use other people to record the script. This made the product sound more like the text we had researched, as we used adult voices, which made the advert sound more professional. Yet, if we was to create the product again, we would make the script less cheesy and possibly a bit shorter, as it was around a minute.
If we were to create the newspaper issues again, we would ensure that we had all used the same template straight away, and we would communicate better before making certain decisions, as we ended up changing a lot of the content of the issues because of this. Working in a group was more difficult than working individually, as it was hard to decide and agree on certain things. This slowed production down, yet some conventions we wouldn't change and agreed on quickly when creating our newspaper, such as our masthead. We all really liked how it looked and how it is a bit different to typical newspaper mastheads. This is because of the image of the bird.
The decision to advertise an app we thought was a good idea, and if we were to do the whole project again, we wouldn't change this idea. We thought it was something different, as we hadn't seen many mobile apps for the local newspapers, but thought our audience would benefit from it. Overall, we are happy with our products and think that all our products resemble real media texts whilst still being original.